You guys, I cannot believe what my own mother said to me last night.
What?
She said, Kira, you need to go out and get a boyfriend. You're getting too old.
Wow. No way.
She is kind of right. But what? I was like, Mother, that is so rude. Why would you say that to me? Oh my gosh. Okay, but if we're being real, where am I gonna meet someone if I barely leave my house? Like, the only place I really go to is the grocery store. And I've actually always envisioned myself meeting my future husband at the grocery store. Like, in the pasta aisle or something. Like, we'll bump into each other and we'll make eye contact. And then, I don't know.
Well, you can create a future romance based on some twist pasta. Delicious.
You just know it's bad when your own mom points it out.
Your mom don't care. Your mom wants grandkids. Just eating a burnt donut. Your mom wants grandkids. Yeah.
These are just too good.
You need to think about having some babies. Your mom should kick you out.
This girl at work said something to me the other day, and I like can't get it out of my head. Heard a baby around her. I was like, oh God, that's free birth control for me. And she's like, oh, that makes me think of my little baby. And I was like, yeah, I'm too selfish. I don't want kids. Like, I have a dog. That's enough for me. A couple of days later, she's like, so you don't want kids, but you have a dog. Do you have like a boyfriend or anything? And I was like, no, I've never had a boyfriend. She was like, how old are you? And I said, 27. She's like, and you've never had a boyfriend? And I like never really cared. But there's something about her like saying that really hit me this time, because like I've never been on even like 2 dates with the same person. Like, even guys I've talked to or like hooked up with, they'll slowly stop talking to me, and then I find out they have a girlfriend or they get into a new relationship like a week later. And like when I was younger and I didn't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, I'd be like, it's because I'm fat. I used to weigh like 320 pounds. I lost 160 pounds. It's not like I'm being hit up every day, every week, even every month with like people in my DMs or like messaging me on Snapchat trying to get with me. It's like no one hits me up.
Lovely woman being honest about her journey. My point to this one is, there are a lot of women who have never had a boyfriend.
Why?
From medium.com, it's estimated that 45% of women ages 25 to 44 will be single by 2030, according to a study by Morgan Stanley. With the modern dating market, nearly half of women in their childbearing years will be without a male counterpart. There are a few reasons for this prediction. 1, women aren't getting married young anymore.
I've never been on even like 2 dates with the same person.
So whereas her situation may be different, one of the reasons they're stating is that women are just holding off marriage and childbearing later and later in life. Some until that opportunity is not there anymore.
It's like no one hits me up. It's not even like I'm being selective with who I'm picking and like turning people away. It's just like people aren't coming up to me, and I don't understand. Not like I have an issue with people like wanting to hook up with me, but if it tries to go a step further, they're like, absolutely not, no. I don't want to just like hook up with random people that I don't know, so I'll tell people that I don't want to hook up with them until I know them, and then they're like, well, you're a prude. I'm like, I literally can't win. Why it's like hitting me so hard this time is the fact that she had the audacity to ask by choice, and I just sit there and I'm like, no, it's not by choice. When I was younger, I was like, oh, it's because I'm fat. Oh, it's because I'm fat. Once I lose weight, I'll have no problem. And now that I'm like not fat, I'm just like, what is it? What is the reason? So now I'm gonna finish my energy drink and hit the gym until I can't feel my emotions anymore. Maybe that's the reason.
At least she's trying to be upbeat about it. The single women who have never had a long-term boyfriend fall into 2 categories. 1, they've never had a boyfriend literally, and they've just never had one. 2, they've never had a boyfriend, but they've had a decent amount of male interactions. Hookups. Interesting, isn't it? And a point I've noticed about a lot of these videos where women have never had a boyfriend, a lot of them have had a decent amount of hookups, but the men never want to commit to them. Why? Why? Is there something wrong with the women? Is it something they're doing? Are they putting out bad signals?
I've never had a boyfriend before, and I'm 30.
Okay.
And all throughout my 20s, this was something that actually really scared me. It was something I was super ashamed of, super embarrassed by. I felt really left out. I just thought I was like one of the only people, because I was around a lot of people that were in relationships or who were already married, and way ahead of me on that timeline. And I was scared that it was never going to happen for me. I have dated, I have been in situationships with men, but I've never met someone who I feel like I would want to spend a long period of my life with, like who I would want to be in a relationship with. And this was something that in my early 20s, I actually just never saw myself falling in love or being in a relationship. I always just thought like I would be the person who would never be in love, and love was stupid. And I think ultimately it was just a way to avoid getting hurt. I definitely have been in toxic situations where I've been treated really poorly by men and just used. In, I think you could put 2 and 2 together for situationships in your early 20s.
So like the previous woman,
I've never been on even like 2 dates with the same person. Like,
you had many encounters of men just having their fun with you, running, one could say running through you, having their fun, but no commitment. And like she says, she didn't think any of them were even worthy to even be with.
Dusty.
Interesting. How much does feminism have to do with these women not having a solid boyfriend? I mean, we've noticed a pattern already, haven't we? The pattern of, yeah, many interactions and a lot of fun. Because feminism has taught women, that's good, just be liberated, have your fun. Some women reach a point where they realize, well, don't I deserve something more? And all they have is themselves and probably some pets.
And I think it really did mess me up. And it wasn't until I really started doing a lot of therapy around my mental illnesses that I learned kind of the impact those relationships, not relationships, situationships had on me overall. And so when I say I've never had a boyfriend, it used to be something that I was super, super ashamed of, because I just figured at this point in my life, 30, I would definitely be in a situation or be at least close to like getting married, having kids, living with someone, like all those things I figured would already be like part of my life.
It's always 30. It's like even if men don't say anything, women themselves say by 30. Okay.
But they're not. I want to share a little bit about why I think that's okay and why I'm coming to terms with where I'm at in my life is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Even though at times I find it really hard, I still believe that everything will work out how it's supposed to. And I'm just trying to have more faith that the universe will guide me wherever I need to go. But I truly did believe that by now I would be in love and would have found my person. And I think it's super easy for people to say, like, if they've been in relationships in the past or had like really bad experiences, that to be like, girl, you're not missing out on anything. I totally respect where you're coming from, but I think if you're like me and you've never experienced a relationship or been with someone that you really love and want to spend more time with or see your future with, we don't know what that feels like.
And that's my point. If by 2030, a lot of women will be single and childless, that means the same amount of women may have never had a serious relationship, a real boyfriend. And there's something I've noticed, that there are a lot of women out there giving advice to other women when they've never experienced having a real boyfriend. All they've ever had are hookups. So you have those women giving other women just ridiculous and poor advice and information because they've never had it. Like she just said, they've never experienced it. So I mean,
They don't know nothing, do they, honey?
for some of those women, they may think it's not real.
Like, we're very much used to being alone and not having the support from that person. And so when you say things like that, I totally understand and I could agree with you, but we also want to experience that in life. I think everybody in life just really wants to feel loved and feel like they belong with someone, and they want to have that comfort with someone and experience what it feels like. But I also believe that this is nothing to fear of. I saw a lot of people being like, oh my gosh, I hope this is not me. And I totally understand it. When I was in my early 20s, I would have been so disgusted if this was my life now, because I just thought, like, to be single when you're 30 and to not be in the position to even like be living on your own and things like that would just be like you're so behind in life and you're obviously failing.
Failing in terms of relationships, we could say, okay, it's questionable. But there is one thing about a lot of these women that have never had a boyfriend. A lot of them actually have decent careers, or they actually have money. They make decent money. So going back again to the feminism, the growth of a woman's security, her independence, it's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's a common fact it's being replaced with a certain more social aspect in terms of interactions with the opposite sex.
Now that I'm here, I totally understand that life and everyone's journey has a different way of evolving and moving forward. And you should never ever feel ashamed or embarrassed for where you are at any stage in your life, because it's your life and everyone is going through different challenges. So don't let the fear cripple you from living where you are right now, and don't let it take away from the present life that you're in. So if you're in your early 20s, or maybe your late teens or your mid 20s, and you're seeing this and you're like, oh my God, I really hope this doesn't happen to me, you're gonna be okay if it does. Because your relationship or being in a relationship does not define you. And I feel like it's one of the big things that we think it does. Like, no one is going to think less of you or more of you if you're in a relationship or not.
I get her points, but is it healthy for a lot of young women to get ran through? Have their fun? Yeah, of course. Nothing wrong with that, because men are having their fun with them. But my point is, do you not think it creates this illusion that that real decent men don't actually exist?
Dirty, musty, crusty men.
They're only ever used to F-boys and players because that's all they've dealt with. And this is why I truly believe a lot of women really believe a man could never even care about them, because they've never tried to pursue it, or they've never been around a man that actually does.
Like, that should not be who you are or what you do with your life. You don't need to identify yourself by being someone who's in a relationship. So just know that if this video is reaching you and you do feel like you're behind in life, or you're the only one that's never been in a relationship, or you just feel like you can't relate to your friends because they're in relationships and they don't know what it feels like to be single all the time, you're absolutely not alone. And I hope that I can at least help you realize that you are so much more than being in a relationship, or
At least she
who
has
you
hope.
date, or who you marry, or being a mom, or any of those sorts of things. Like, yes, those are part of your life and part of who you are, but they're not everything about you. So trust me when I say you're going to be okay. Everything will work out how it's supposed to. You are not alone. And while I don't fully know that for myself, that's something that I have to believe in, because then I'm just creating this like negative energy around myself and putting myself down and making myself really feel really like sad and pity
being honest.
about where I'm at in my life, instead of trying to enjoy where I am and how far I've come. So if no one has told you that, I will tell you that. And trust me, you're going to be okay.
At least she's being honest. Honest to the point where she has to maintain a solid frame of mind. Hence, she may crumble with the reality that it's just her. She may never have any children if she doesn't want any, but she may never have a man, a real boyfriend, husband even. And that's something else.
Here's why you've never had a boyfriend. And no, it's not because you're not pretty enough. I am 26 and I have proudly never had a boyfriend. The first thing is that getting a boyfriend who's actually of quality is like winning the lottery. It doesn't happen every single day, and it's very normal if it doesn't happen by the time you're 15, 20, 25, or even 30. I don't know why in this society it's become normal to have a boyfriend at a young age, but if you really think about all your friends in relationships, there's not many who are actually in good quality ones. So be patient. It is normal to not have had a boyfriend yet. Number 2 is you have high standards. Like I said, how many people do you know who are in a relationship and it's not a good one? Their mental health?
Okay, but how much of it is high standards? Point a lot of women make, but they never want to make the point that the woman could just not be a good person. She could just be horrible. She could have a bad attitude.
You better bag us.
It's not always the fact that the problem is the man. Okay? We don't live in this world of perfect women and wrong men. Come on, that's ridiculous.
It was good. Everything was good until they got a boyfriend, and now they're at rock bottom. You got standards. It is okay to wait for someone who truly fulfills you. But number 3, you gotta be open to it. For so long, I used to walk around with blocked off energy. I was like, no one look at me, no one talk to me. You have to open your energy and be open if the right person does come along. Just remember that finding the right relationship is not around the corner. It takes patience, and it's really in God's timing. So do not feel guilty or feel feel like it has to do with your beauty if you have not found a boyfriend. I love you so much, and I hope this helps you to stop feeling rushed to find a boyfriend. Bye.
I get asked all the time, how have you been single forever? How have you never had a boyfriend? Why? What's wrong with you? There has to be something wrong with you. First of all, I hate people say that because it makes me feel like shit. But I've been doing a lot of self-reflection on that, and it's because I'm a hyper-independent person. Or at least I'm self-diagnosing that to be my problem. Hyper-independence comes from trauma, but not even just trauma, just getting let down or, abandonment. A lot of times kids that had parents that got divorced at a young age, where there was a lot of drama that didn't involve them, where they had to kind of figure things out on their own, when a parent dies, like things like that, which were all part of my childhood, definitely affect how you grow up. And for me, it's always just kind of been like, figure it out. I'm independent, I'm strong, I can figure it out on my own. I'm just gonna figure it out on my own. I have a lot of friends that they hate being out of a relationship, or they hate living alone, or things like that those things make me feel safe. Not being in a relationship and just being in my own company, that makes me feel safe. Living alone makes me feel safe. Knowing that I take care of all my financial stability makes me feel safe because I don't have to worry about financial problems coming from above, coming from my parents. That's something I've always worried about. Of course, I still get stressed, but knowing that I'm in control of it makes me feel better.
Okay, a young, hyper-independent girly, self-sufficient, can take care of herself, do everything herself. But why is it that when women can manage to adopt certain hyper-independent masculine traits, they lose so much of their femininity?
Innate femininity.
It's like you can still see a presentable woman, but it's like in adopting so many hyper-independent masculine traits, it's like I always wonder what happens to the femininity? Do women believe that just being feminine is a weakness themselves? Because it seems like women adopt that thinking themselves. And it's like men keep telling women, nah, there's nothing wrong with you being an independent woman. But when so many women like take on these masculine, manly traits as well, it's like the ick. Is there nothing soft about you?
And one of the signs of being very hyper independent is that when you start getting in a relationship or you start feeling things, you run. Because it's safer to be alone than to trust someone that might end up causing this trauma to rehash itself, So personally for me is when I meet someone, I just think it's easier to not. It's easier and safer for me to not be in a relationship. So I never put myself out there in that way. I really don't. I've never looked for it. I've never seeked it. I've always just been confident and comfortable with who I am. And yeah, of course I've had crushes. I've had guys that I've liked, but it hasn't been like something that I need. Whereas a lot of other people, I feel like they love being in a relationship. It feels very comfortable to them. Like they feel more comfortable being in a relationship. And that's just where I cannot relate. So when people are so shocked and upset by the fact that I've never dated anyone, first of all, that's not your business. I'm 23. I'm not like I'm 60. Even if I was 60, none of your business. But for me, I have to be able to trust that person. I have to be able to get my walls down, and it's hard for me to break my walls down. It's really fucking hard for me to break my walls down. I'm gonna be honest.
And it's women at this age bracket the article's talking about. Women from their early 20s up until their 40s. She's fully confident in her choices. She's comfortable in her life. She has everything she needs and wants. A man and a baby is not something she's looking forward to having. So this is why you can understand that by 2030, this is going to be a lot more common, a lot more common. It's not going to be less, practically going to be half of modern Western women.
So, yes, I share everything on the internet, but if you actually want to know me, I have 4 people in my life that know me like that. Anyways, where are my hyper independent girlies at? We can bond over this. It'll be so perfect.
Okay, love you guys. Have a good night. Bye.
Growing up, I was always questioning, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why are all my friends having boyfriends? Why is no one interested in me? Why have I not had a relationship? And in high school, there was a group of 4 of us. 3 of them had boyfriends. In college, there was a group of 7 of us. 6 of us had boyfriends except me. So it was a common theme. I was the one, you know what I mean?
By 2030, there'll be half of women looking at the other half of women wondering, what the hell did you do with your life? Why did you choose to do that? The question is, what woman would be on either side of that question?
And I do feel like this is a cycle for a lot of women, and it's so easy to feel like there's something wrong with you.
There's nothing wrong with the woman who's never had a boyfriend. However, men would question a woman wait a second, how have you never had a boyfriend? Do I really want to be your first boyfriend? Do you not want one? Or is there a reason you can't keep one? Have a nice day.
I've never been on even 2 dates with the same person.